In spite of the White House ambush by Donald Trump, Cyril Ramaphosa says his trip to the US has been a success. Also in Washington, D.C., the deliberate shooting of 2 Israelis outside a Jewish museum. And it's official. Rooibos tea is good for you. Hello, I'm Jane Dutton.
EWN. In touch, in tune, and independent.
What does he know that we don't? President Cyril Ramaphosa has hailed his visit to the United States as a major success. That's despite being ambushed by Donald Trump in the White House.
I was rather pleased that there's a firm agreement and undertaking that we are going to continue engaging. So there's no disengagement. For us, that was one of the key outcomes that we had wanted.
A video showing 500 white crosses lining either side of a rural road and hundreds of vehicles participating in a peaceful protest was the focus during yesterday's meeting between Presidents Donald Trump and Cyril Ramaphosa in the White House.
It's a terrible sight. I've never seen anything like it. Both sides of the road you have crosses.
The video was taken on Saturday, September 5th in 2020 during a peaceful protest in Normandin, Newcastle in northern KZN. It followed the double murder of farmers Glenn and Vida Rafferty, who were killed on their farm by intruders, 3 of who were subsequently arrested and sentenced between 2021 and 2022. 3 days after the murders, former Police Minister Becky Cele visited the Rafferty family to prioritize the case and engage with locals. The protest was held by local farmers in the region 6 days after the Raffertys were murdered to raise awareness about farm murders. There's no evidence to suggest the crosses in the videos were to honor specific farmers. Arun Singh, Eyewitness News.
There is some hope now that Trump will attend the G20 summit in Johannesburg in November. Trump and senior officials in his administration have made it clear they would not set foot in South Africa later this year because of the, quote, genocide.
I want to hand over the presidency of the G20 to President Trump in November. And I said, he needs to be there. I don't want to hand over the presidency of the G20 to an empty chair. And he is going to give serious consideration to it. In fact, I expect him to be coming to South Africa.
Pushing the White House debacle off the international front pages is the story of 2 Israeli embassy staffers who were shot dead outside a Jewish museum in Washington, D.C. A suspect is now in custody. The suspect, identified as 30-year-old Elias Rodriguez, was seen pacing outside the building moments before he opened fire on a small group exiting an event. He was arrested on the scene and reportedly shouted, "Free Palestine," as he was being taken into custody. Washington Police Chief Pamela Smith says investigators believe the shooting was deliberate.
The tragic and heinous murder of 2 young Israeli embassy staff members outside the Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C. last night serves as a shocking reminder of the rising tide of anti-Semitism that we are witnessing all over the world.
Police in KwaZulu-Natal have rearrested a suspect linked to a number of rape incidents at the Bizimali High School in Nkandla. The man managed to escape police on Monday after they found him hiding out in the Marion Hill area west of Durban. Police say following an extensive search, he was found in Umbilo, just outside the Durban CBD this morning.
The suspect will appear in the Pinetown Magistrate Court today, being Thursday, 22nd May 2025, on a charge of escaping from lawful custody. He will then be transferred to Ekombe, where he will face several cases of rape, in which allegedly targeted learners who reside at cottages of a school in Nkandla.
As the national budget process starts all over again after 3 failed attempts since February, there is confidence it will be signed, sealed and put in place. The chairpersons of Parliament's Finance Committee say sufficient consultation has taken place between the Government of National Unity parties ahead of yesterday's budget tabling to reach sufficient consensus. Scopa chairperson Songezo Zibi has labelled the last months of the previous budget process a disaster, but he believes the country is not in for a repeat and that political parties would not want to see civil servants not being paid.
So it will pass. We will not have this scenario where the budget doesn't pass.
It will pass. I can give that assurance. I think there's political will to make sure it passes. I don't think there's a single party that wants to see the drama of the last number of months.
The latest bid by two former apartheid police officers to be pardoned for the murder of student activist Caiphus Nyoka has failed in the Pretoria High Court. Judge Ismail Mohammed delivered the verdict this morning. 63-year-old Abraham Engelbrecht, 62-year-old Peter Stander, 75-year-old Leon van den Berg, who were members of the reaction unit of apartheid police, are accused of shooting the student activist multiple times in his Davidson home. Last year, a fourth accused, Johan Marais, pleaded guilty and is yet to be sentenced.
Having heard counsel for accused number 1 and accused number 2, as well as the state, the court is of the view that the application for a discharge in terms of section 174 of the Criminal Procedure Act should be refused. That is the ruling.
The National Prosecuting Authority is pushing for an inquiry into whether two 13-year-old girls accused of assaulting another teen had the criminal capacity to understand their actions at the time. Yesterday, 7 teenage girls made a second appearance in the Johannesburg Magistrates Court following their arrest on Monday, triggered by shocking video footage that spread online. The clip shows a 13-year-old girl being slapped, shoved and kicked. The accused, aged between 13 and 15, could all face criminal charges, but only if the state can prove they understood their actions were wrong.
That Criminal Justice Act clearly states that it is presumed that they lack criminal capacity unless, as the state, we are in a position to prove that indeed they have criminal capacity.
If the magistrate finds they did have capacity, they could be prosecuted like any other child aged 14 or older. The case returns to court next week. Good news for unemployed Gauteng residents. The provincial government's mass recruitment campaign is making a return.
So this is the next round of NASISPAN. It's a skills training to be welders, to know how to put in tiles, to be plumbers, to 544,000 people that are unemployed in Gauteng that have raised their hands that they want to be trained, either to be welders, bricklayers, plumbers, electricians.
The Gauteng government has also secured more than 320 billion rand from the recent Gauteng Investment Conference with the aim of attracting investment to the province. The funds are intended to support job creation and boost development here. Wet wipes are leading the cause of blocked pipes in Cape Town's coastal suburbs along the Atlantic seaboard, where the city officials have attended to more than 1,000 blocked sewer systems in 2 years. City Maker member for Water and Sanitation, Zahid Badrudian, says water and sanitation teams have had to attend to more than 1,000 sewer blockages in Camps Bay, Buckhoven, Clifton and Sea Point from July 2023 to March 2025. He says one of the main causes are wet wipes being flushed down toilets. Rooibos tea has been researched for the past 50 years, with many researchers looking into the health benefits the tea brings. Researchers from the Cape Peninsula University of Technology have been conducting a study alongside other researchers to investigate how the brew can aid one's health. Their research focuses on how petrol attendants are constantly surrounded by toxic fumes and how Rooibos tea can aid in their recovery.
Our collaborators at the National Institute of Occupational Health, they completed it. They drove the whole clinical part of it. Our part is doing the antioxidant and oxidative stress analysis of those attendants. We are waiting for their samples to arrive to our lab, and once they do, we will start analyzing, and hopefully we will have results before the end of the year.
Cheers to that. See you for more again tomorrow.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.